to another tutorial from Play Simple Chords. In this tutorial, I'm going to present gospel chords and gospel chord progressions that can be used to reharmonize the song, I Surrender All. It's a traditional hymn that you can hear playing in the background, and some of the chord progressions and chord voicings that I am using will be demonstrated in the tutorial. Okay, let's take a look at the major scale and the scale tone chords in the circle of fourths order. The scale for the song that we are working on, I Surrender All, is in the key of D flat. So D flat is 1, E flat 2, F 3, G flat 4, A flat 5, B flat 6, C 7, and then you're back to D flat. And we know from previous lessons that there is a chord associated with each tone in the scale. So for D flat major on the 1, E flat minor on the 2, F minor on the 3, G flat major on the 4, dominant 7 on the 5, A flat dominant 7, and then B flat minor 7 on the 6, C minor 7 flat 5 on the 7, and then back to D flat. Now, if you arrange the chords in circle of fourths order, you would go 1, 4, 7, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. And this order would keep the songs diatonic, keep the chords diatonic to the key of D flat major. So we would have a D flat going to a G flat going to a C7 flat 5, to an F minor 7, to a B flat minor, to an E flat minor, to an A flat minor 7, or A flat dominant 7, to a D flat major. So again, now let's look at the major scale and the borrowed scales that are used to compose the gospel chord progression and gospel chords that I'm using in this example. So for D flat major, the target chords would be, or I should say first, the target tones will be the 6th tone, the 4th tone, and the 2nd tone. For the 6th tone, it would now become the 1, in the sense that the chord progression is moving towards a 1 rather than moving towards a 6. So the corresponding 2, 5, 1 would be based on B flat minor. So we'd play a 2-5-1 in the key of B flat minor, which would end up being a C minor 7 flat 5 to an F7 flat 9, or some dominant 7th chord, to a B flat major, or excuse me, B flat minor. So we would start with D flat, and that would be the first one where we're playing a 2-5-1 in the key of B flat minor, which is the harmonic minor. So 2-5-1 in the key of B flat harmonic minor. The second progression would proceed on from the previous 2-5-1, and in this progression the 4 would be the target chord. Then it would making it the 1 for the 2-5-1 progression. So we would be going to the major scale for G flat major and building a 2-5-1 going to G flat major, and in that case it would be an A flat minor 7 to a D flat 9, dominant 9, dominant 9 flat 9, dominant 7 flat 9, and then going to the G flat. So in context, we'd go from D flat to a C minor 7, so 2-5-1, to G flat major. The next one would be a 2-5-1, which is a harmonic minor, to E flat. In the key of D flat major, E flat is the 2, but what we're doing is building a chord progression to take us to E flat minor, and that chord progression is going to be based on the E flat harmonic minor scale. And your 2-5-1 would be an F minor to a B flat 7 flat 9 to an E flat minor 7. So we would go from D flat minor to a C 7, 3, 6, or 7, and then A flat minor, and then the last one would be actually diatonic to the scale of D flat, where you would play a 3-6-2-5-1, where all of those chords belong to the key of D flat. So you could end it with an F minor 7 to a B flat minor 7 to an E flat minor 7 to an A flat minor 7 to a D flat. So it would be Now let's apply the song, or apply the scale tone chords and the borrowed chords to the song of I Surrender All. Now from the previous section, we identified the chords that can come from the parent scale, the chords that can come from the two harmonic minor scales, and the chords that would come from the related major scale, where we would be using 2-5-1s from the harmonic minor and the major scale for the fourth tone. We look at the song I Surrender All, and like the previous songs, it's a hymn that uses the basic chords, the primary chords in the scale, which is the 1, 4, and the 5. And you can see this one laid out in the same manner. So just for a couple of bars, I'll play it with the basic chords. It's all to Jesus I surrender, all to him I truly give. So it's just 1, 4, 1, 5, and then back to 1, 4, 1, 5, 1. So it's very simple. You can play that, and you can do a lot of arpeggios that hymn players use when they're playing this song to dress it up a little bit. But in its basic form, it's a 1-4-5 chord progression. Now, if we look at the first measure, it's laid out D flat to G flat over D flat to D flat. Then we'll go to A flat. And then back to 1. Now, if you add a 2-5-1 from the harmonic minor for the 6 for the B flat, you would end up playing it this way instead. So what we played there was we went from 1 to the 4, 4, 1. Instead of going to the 5, we played this 2-5-1. And you can throw in this A diminished as a passing tone to the B minor. And then to E minor. So there you can see you have a 2-5-1 going to B flat minor, and we use just the 1 chord, the E flat minor, which is diatonic to the key of D flat. Now in the second 4 bars, it repeats and you can play the same thing. And basically, instead of playing the 2-5-1, play just the straight 2-5-1 without the A diminished chord, just to add a little difference since the verses are exactly the same. So we play. So then that's just one other way to play that same verse. In the next section, it's the chorus. It's the I surrender all to thee, my blessed Savior, I surrender all. So that would use the same basic chords, but only I'm playing using inversions. So there's a little passing progression that's played at the end. And that's basically just a 1, 2, 3. You can make it sound fuller by doubling the notes in the right hand. You can double on this one instead of, you can double the F. And then double this, doubling the F sharp or G flat, and then doubling the A flat or G sharp. And that gives you that little passing. And then in the fourth measure, you're going to play All to Thee, my blessed Savior, I surrender all. So it's so you still have your you're still doing your G flat, D flat, and then you're going to play and I'm voicing this chord a little differently. You're playing an A flat minor 7, part of a 2-5-1, 2 tritone. We're doing the tritone here. Instead of the D flat, I could play the D flat. And then we're going to G flat. And then D flat or D diminish. E flat minor 7 flat 5 to G. Minor 7 flat 5 to A. Dominant 7. And then back to the 1. So this 2-5-1 of from A flat to G flat, where I'm playing the chord. You see how I'm going to play the same chord in the right hand and just change the bass. Do you see that? That's using a tritone substitution. Only I'm doing, instead of taking the 5 bass note, I'm doing the half step bass note. Now there's one other option for closing out the song. I showed you the one where we were using the 2-5-1. And then we're using the diminished and the minor 7 flat 5s to go out. Well, there's one other. Instead of that, you can also use a diatonic 3-6-2-5-1. And if you did that, it would sound like this. Now that's the complete use of 2-5-1s and as passing chord progressions and using your gospel chords with the extensions to reharmonize the song, I Surrender All. Thank you for watching my tutorials. Simple chords are the building blocks for making advanced chords. I hope you find that these tutorials are helpful to you on your musical journey. Please like, subscribe, and share these tutorials with others who have a desire to learn how to play music at the piano. I look forward to sharing other tutorials with you in future videos.